Good morning, all my fellow curious, inquiring, questioning patriots. Now, normally I start these things out with a reading of the headline. Today, though, let's talk about two things I found most curious about this story. The first is the story didn't make the news until this morning. This is Saturday, February 27th. This story happened Thursday, February 25th. It seems like all the news organizations decided not to print this story until the weekend, where most normal people ignore the news. I wonder why they wanted this story ignored. The second thing I noticed that was just a little bit interesting is I could not find a picture of this Brooklyn man 23, Salman Muflihi. Now, you think I should be able to, after all. I should at least be able to find a mugshot of him because back in September 29, he was detained by the police for assaulting his own brother. And just a month ago, he hit another Asian man, which is why, by the way, this is a hate crime, is because he's done this before. Now let's take a look at this headline. Brooklyn man 23 is charged with attempted murder as a hate crime for stabbing an Asian man in New York City's Chinatown because he didn't like the way he looked at me. Now, in my mind, I don't believe there should be such a thing as a hate crime. Yes, he should be charged with attempted murder. He should be charged with using a weapon, that knife that he stabbed the man with and left embedded in him, by the way. But a hate crime? Maybe in the sentencing you might want to bring that up as an additional thing that he did in order to pile on the time, but I don't believe hate crimes should be a thing. Much like hate speech, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Charge the man for what he did, not for what he thought. Let's go through a few of these bullet points. Salman Muflihi, 23, reportedly stabbed the 36-year-old victim. And actually, if you want to look at any of these news articles, a lot of them show the video clip. He actually ran up behind the man and stabbed him in the back with his 8-inch knife. The man didn't even see the attack coming. After the attack, Muflihi ran to a nearby security guard at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office building on Hogan Place, where apparently he turned himself in and confessed to the crime. Muflihi told detectives that he stabbed the man because he didn't like the way he looked at him. That in itself wouldn't have generated the hate crime. It tells you in the story that it generated the hate crime because he had assaulted another Asian man, like I said, just about a month ago, back in January. The unidentified man who had been walking home at the time of the assault was taken to Bellevue in critical condition, and by Friday, his condition had worsened to semi-stable due to the knife-damaged organs. Let's take a look at the last couple of bullet statements now. While Muflihi was not initially charged with a hate crime, police added the charge once they determined he was suspected for a string of attacks. Now, in the article, they don't mention a string of attacks. They only mention the one attack back in January. If he's suspected for a string of attacks, I wonder what evidence they have against him. And you notice this last bullet point. Anti-Asian attacks have been on the rise in New York City since the beginning of the pandemic, with police recording 28 incidents of COVID-related hate crimes. Now, the interesting thing about these anti-Asian attacks is it is mostly done by one race. And if it is, it's done by the one race that I suspect Salman Muflihi is. The reason I suspect Salman Muflihi of this one race is a statement that is attributed to him later on in the article. Let's go on. I just stabbed someone. Where are the police at? He reportedly told the guard. The second part of the sentence, where are the police at? That is not a statement someone of my hue would make. We wouldn't add that extra article at the end. We would use the sentence, where are the police? Asians wouldn't add that extra word at the end of a sentence. Hispanics aren't known for adding that extra word on to the end of a sentence. There is only one group that is known for adding that extra word on to the end of a sentence. And they give this man a little bit of cover at the very end of the story. Now, if a white man is charged of a hate crime, they would say, well, he's affiliated with right-wing groups. He's a Nazi. He belongs to the Klan. He belongs, they think of some damn group. But with this man, even if he's associated with a gang or a group that is like Antifa, we'll never know about it. He's provided a little bit of cover at the end of the story. Let's go to it, and I'll show you what I mean. Take a look at this sentence above the last picture. Authorities describe the man as being emotionally disturbed. Those cover words, like I said, would never be used for somebody of my hue. They're generally reserved for people with a little bit more melanin than me.